Dear students, it's a breaking news class because of the world news. Always be reactive, it's important. And now the title of this special video is Russia tries to show off again its strength against Ukraine. Hey, we often wonder why Russia is often seen as the rogue actor of the world. Some of us are nevertheless big supporters of Russian President Vladimir Putin, and even French politicians are arguing to stop the trade and political sanctions of the Western world against Russia. We could talk about, for example, Marine Le Pen, for example, François Fillon, for example, Jean-Luc Mélenchon, who are seen as supporters, friends of Russian leader Vladimir Putin. Those arguments can be heard, of course, but it would also be a good thing to come back to the facts, and they are not really in favor of Russia. Among a lot of other ones, let's talk about the Georgian crisis in 2008 that leads pro-Russia militia to occupy two regions of this country, Southern Ossetia and Abkhazia, after the military invasion of Georgia by the Russian army. Of course, Georgian former president is not innocent in this story. But the result is that one of the two countries, Russia, currently occupies parts of the other one for now 10 years. Let's move to the case of Ukraine. Without even talking about Syria, which is another story, a big part of the country is occupied by pro-Russian militia, although Russia denies its involvement as usual, and the disputed region of Crimea has been annexed by Russia and is now officially part of the Russian Federation. That decision led the Western world to leverage economic and political sanctions against Russia that had for the moment not a lot of effects. If you add to this the strong suspicion of involvement of Russia in some Western national elections, especially in the USA, it is not very difficult to realize why the relations are harmed and why it will be difficult to recover. By the way, what happened yesterday is a new brick to this wall between Russia and the Western world. Ukraine's president, Petro Poroshenko, said last Tuesday, 27th of November, is concerned about a possible full-scale confrontation, that means war, in other terms, with Russia following a maritime clash between the two countries over the weekend. Earlier, US Secretary of State Mike Pompeo pledged to Ukraine full assistance, including military assistance, after Sunday's confrontation between Ukraine and Russia. Sailors, because it's not happened by hazard, Ukraine sailors will be detained for 2 months. What is this story? Poroshenko's comments come after a court in Russian-controlled Crimea ordered that 12 of the Ukrainian sailors captured during clashes Sunday be detained for 2 months. It's a speedy judgment. It was a move likely to further inflame tensions between the two countries. The sailors, including the commander of a small Ukrainian gunboat, will be held under formal arrest in a detention center in Simferopol until January 25. The judge ruled after a speedy judgment. It's a dream in France to judge so quick, people. The decision comes after a confrontation between the two countries around a waterway linking the Azov Sea and the Black Sea, when Russia fired on a seized 3 Ukrainian Navy ships and detained 24 Ukrainian sailors. Ukraine and Russia have offered conflicting accounts of the incident, each accusing the other of violating the laws of the sea. Ukraine said 2 of its small gunboats and 1 tugboat were attacked by Russian naval forces Sunday after entering the Kerch Strait en route to the city of Mariupol. Video of this incident, released by Ukrainian officials, appeared to show a Russian ship ramming the Ukrainian tugboat. The incident provoked fury in Kiev, while Russia accused Ukraine of acting as the aggressor and called the incident a dangerous provocation by Kiev. The Kerch Strait, a shallow, narrow stretch of water just 4 kilometers wide at one point, connects the Azov Sea with the Black Sea and runs between the Crimean Peninsula and Russia. It is an important economic lifeline for Ukraine as it allows its ships to access the Black Sea. It is also the closest point of access for Russia to Crimea, which Moscow annexed from Ukraine, as I said, in 2014. A Russian-built bridge over the Kerch Strait was opened in May. A 2003 agreement confirms the Azov Sea and the Kerch Strait as domestic waters of Russia and Ukraine. On Monday, the Ukrainian parliament voted very quickly also to introduce martial law from Wednesday only in regions bordering Russia or adjacent to regions where Russian troops are posted for 30 days. Sunday's incident has sparked international condemnation over Russia's use of force, as usual. But nothing will happen. You can guess it. During an emergency UN Security Council meeting to defuse rising tensions after the confrontations, US Ambassador Nikki Haley called the incident yet another reckless Russian escalation and demanded that the Kremlin release the sailors. European member states of the UN Security Council, including France, the Netherlands, Poland, Sweden, and the UK, also issued a statement calling on Russia to restore freedom of passage at the Kerch Strait. Well, it seems to be another issue between those two enemy border brothers. What will be the consequences for our economies? What can we do to solve it? And how can companies behave to overcome this really difficult issue? It's up to you now. Bye bye and see you next time.